Welcome back. Now we look at this formula for the circumference of a circle. So what is the circumference of a circle? Is actually just the perimeter of a circle. So I'm draw it out now. So let's say I've got a circle and this is the center. If I say I want to find the circumference of a circle, means I want the perimeter of this whole portion here that I've highlighted in red. So there's a formula for it. Circumference of a circle would just be pi times your diameter. Diameter can also be expressed in terms of radius because remember, your diameter is 2 times of your radius. Now, how do you identify what a diameter is? So long as you've got a straight line that touches from one point of the perimeter of the circle to another point. So for example, something like that. This is considered a diameter. So I could also draw it maybe perhaps in this form here. This red line that I've drawn is also considered the diameter. But take note, I will do it in black now. If you've got something like that, this black line is not considered the diameter because it does not pass through the center of the circle, even though both ends of the line touch the arc of the circle. So let's see how we can apply the formula in this question. So this question here wants me to find the perimeter of the logo. Again, I'll notice that there are three repeated patterns here. 1, 2, and 3. And since these 3 are repeated, I just need to find 1 and then I multiply by 3 later to find the perimeter of the entire logo. I will look at the one that I've circled in green previously, so maybe I'll just look at this one here. So do you realize actually there's an arc here and this arc belongs to the circle with diameter of 14 cm. So let me just write that down here for reference. This is 14 cm and it's also the same as this semicircle here, isn't it? And we also need to include this arc length. So we put them together. Don't you agree that actually the length of the green lines is just the circumference of a circle with diameter of 14? So I'm going to put that down in my workings first. So length of the green lines, so that one would be, remember, circumference of a circle is pi times diameter. In this question, the value of pi they gave you is 22/7. So I'm just going to write down there, pi times your diameter of 14, and that's going to give you 44 centimeters. Now let's see what other part we need. I've also got this arc here that I need. This arc is the arc of the quadrant. Now take note, we are only given the radius of this quadrant to be 14. So now I need the diameter of this quadrant. So let's see, length of the blue line would be, take the pi times your diameter. Diameter is 2 times of radius. So since the radius is 14, I need to take 14 times 2. And because this is a quadrant means it's 1/4 of a circle, I need to times by 1/4. Putting everything together, you would end up with 22 centimeters. Next, we are still missing this semicircle here, isn't it? This is the last portion. So to find the perimeter of this last portion that I have now outlined in red, it's actually just the arc of a semicircle plus the length of the diameter. So let's write that down. Length of the red line would just now be pi times your diameter. How do I know what a diameter is? Do you realize this semicircle is also the same as this one here that I'm now outlining at the bottom? And the question told us the diameter is 7. So let's plug those values in. Pi times diameter of 7. But because we're talking about a semicircle, I need to times half to it. And I still need to add the bottom diameter because that's also part of the perimeter of the logo. So the diameter is 7. Putting these values together, I'm gonna get 36 centimeters. So putting them all together, the perimeter of the logo would be 44 plus 22 plus 36. And I would times 3 to the whole thing. And that's going to give me 252 centimeters. That's that. Alright, now we're left with the last portion of the logo, which is this part that I'm outlining in red, you realize it's a semicircle. And what's the diameter of the semicircle? Actually, we can take reference to this portion here because they're the same semicircles. You realize the diameter is 7 cm. So I'm going to go ahead to find the circumference of this semicircle and continue to add on the diameter of the semicircle to find the total perimeter. So let's see here, the length of the red line would be pi times your diameter of 7 times half. Why? Because it's a semicircle. Semicircle means it's half of a circle, so I must times half. So this only accounts for the arc. Now I need to add on the diameter of 7. So putting that all together, we're going to get 18 cm. Now we're ready to find the perimeter of the entire logo. So this one, now what we found was just 1/3 of it. We still need to multiply by 3 because there are 3 identical pieces. So the perimeter of the logo will be 44 plus your 22 plus 18. All of that I would times 3, and that's going to give me 252 centimeters. That's how you solve the question using the formula for circumference of a circle. You see these questions that we're doing now in primary school? Actually, similar ones do appear in secondary school, but now we're throwing things like algebra. So come join us for some fun events and we'll show you that secondary math really isn't scary with algebra. See you soon!